If you've watched our video on how to create a positive classroom culture, you'll know the importance for your students of creating a positive classroom culture and the importance for yourself. A positive classroom culture is better for everyone because it supports teachers and students to feel safe and for teachers to work and students to learn effectively. When people don't feel safe, it's very difficult, pretty much impossible, to operate effectively and to the best of your potential. So check out our video on simple ways to create a positive classroom climate in all your interactions with students, because it's in every tiny interaction that you have with students that you build positive culture that supports you and your students. In my role as a teacher and working with teachers in schools to improve teaching and learning, there have been times when I have felt unsafe because of student behaviour and because of teacher behaviour. You'd be familiar with student behaviour that results in my feeling unsafe. Yelling, hitting, aggression, fighting, verbal abuse. Teacher behaviour that's contributed to my feelings of lack of safety have included yelling at students, belittling students, naming and shaming students, and blaming students. And the reason I didn't feel safe was because the climate of the classroom seemed to hinge on the negative feelings of the teacher. The fact that a teacher would behave in these ways with another teacher present indicated to me the level of stress that they were feeling and the lack of awareness that their behaviour had on other people. In this video, I'll share with you some more strategies you can use with your students to develop a positive classroom culture that's healthy for you and for your students. This is especially important when you have students with challenging behaviour. When you create a positive vibe in your classroom, it's the place you want to be, and so do your students. And it's a place where you all feel safe and can perform to your best, a place where you feel inspired and inspiring. My name's Maria Amaro, and I'm the principal presenter at The Highly Effective Teacher. I'm a teacher, and I've been working with students and supporting teachers for over 30 years. I'm passionate about teacher wellbeing, and I combine research and experience to provide strategies that improve teacher wellbeing, and especially the practices that take no extra time, the things that can actually give you back time because you're working more effectively. I love coaching teachers so that they thrive in the teaching profession, not just survive. Improved teacher wellbeing means improved student wellbeing, and that contributes to better academic and social outcomes for all our students. If you'd like to learn more about teacher wellbeing, please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so that you receive notifications of all our videos. And when you subscribe, that helps us to support our channel and means that we can keep making videos and supporting more teachers. It's a challenge to create a positive classroom culture when you have students whose behaviour is difficult and confronting, and if the behaviour pushes your buttons. So this is when you really need to be intentional and purposeful about how you're going to build a positive classroom culture for your students. Number one, especially in this situation, is to see problem behaviour as an expression of student need. A vital component of a positive classroom culture is the teacher's understanding that students are doing the best they can on the day with the skills that they have, no matter what their behaviour looks like. Teachers who understand that all problem behaviour is communication look for ways to teach the students more appropriate ways of communicating those needs. These teachers take care of their own well-being when they ask, what could this behaviour mean, rather than this student is trying to drive me crazy. Young people who display difficult or challenging behaviour are usually trying to access or avoid a stimulus in the environment. Your role as the teacher is to discover what and why they are doing that and then make necessary adjustments for the student. Number two, give students a voice. Martha Caldwell, a teacher and author of Let's Get Real, Exploring Race, Class and Gender Identities in the Classroom, talks about the importance and positive impact of students being heard at school and in the classroom. In my experience, one of the consistent elements identified by students as lacking in schools has been student voice. This has often been addressed in schools through student councils, student surveys and focus groups. However, this can be tokenistic because many groups in the school, particularly some of those marginalised groups of students, are underrepresented. SRC reps are usually high-performing, popular students who realistically only represent part of the school population. Martha Caldwell talks about a more holistic view of student voice where all students feel safe to express themselves and discuss issues that arise at school. Number 3, this is about relationships. 3, 4 and 5 are actually focusing on relationships. So focus on building positive relationships with your students. Relationships are the cornerstone of a positive classroom culture. And schools that strategically and purposefully develop relationships create a sense of belonging and connectedness for staff and students. Allocate time and energy to listening to your students, getting to know them and letting them to get to know you. And in my book, Habits of Highly Effective Teachers, there's a whole chapter on building relationships and how important that is for your practice. So check out the link to that. The magic ratio for building positive relationships, according to John Gottman, the relationship expert, is 5 positive interactions to 1 negative or 1 correction. Number 4, foster positive relationships with parents. Develop positive relationships with parents so that they share your high expectations for your students and you can work as a team with them to educate their children. Remember, parents are the children's first teachers, so they understand and are the experts in their children. And when you build relationships with parents, you increase the likelihood that students will be successful at school. Another underused but highly effective strategy is contacting parents when kids have had a great day, when they've had some success. Doing that builds a relationship with the parents, but it also gives students really valuable feedback about their behaviour. And kids really highly prioritise that as a reinforcer. Number 5, encourage positive relationships between students. So you do this by modelling the behaviour you want to see and how students treat each other, get them to use respectful language and demand a high standard of relating to one another in the classroom. While you're not expecting them to be friends with everyone, they need to treat each other respectfully. Explicitly teach students social skills and give them plenty of opportunities to practice. Teach your students how to respect each other. And for students to feel safe in the classroom, they need to know that you deal effectively with bullying by proactively teaching everyone how to get along and dealing with bullying in the moment. Even high school students need to be taught how to treat one another, to learn to have empathy, to accept diversity and manage conflict. Number 6, use evidence-based strategies that are effective and learning practices that support that learning. So be prepared for classes by considering how your students learn and provide relevant, engaging curriculum presented in interesting and student-centred ways. In her literature review, Helen Cahill stated that school connectedness contributes to positive mental health outcomes for students, and pedagogical characteristics of schools that demonstrated effective connectedness were the use of cooperative learning strategies such as hands-on activities and a variety of instruction. Using group work, paired work, and getting kids to teach each other are some of the strategies that you can use. And classrooms that use those strategies have lower student anxiety levels than those that demand individual work from students. Number 7, post the day or the lesson schedule. Write up the schedule for the day or the lesson so that students can refer to it before and during the lesson, and they know what's coming up. When students know what's going to happen throughout that day or the lesson, their anxiety is reduced, and that makes it much more likely that they'll be on task and ready to learn. Number 8, divide your lessons into passive and active components. So make sure that your lessons are a good combination of listening, speaking, and activities so that all students are involved and they're not being asked to sit and listen for longer than is appropriate for their age. Adults can only listen and take in information for approximately 20 minutes before they need a break. So design your lessons so that you're providing brain, movement and chatting breaks that are necessary for effective learning. Thanks for watching our videos. Stay safe and happy teaching.